Hi, I'm back with the latest chapter of A Mouse Called Wolf. Remember last week, Wolfgang Amadeus Mouse had helped save Mrs. Honeybee. She had fallen and gotten hurt, and he stood at the window singing to attract the attention of the police officer, who then got help for Mrs. Honeybee. The next chapter, chapter 10, is called A Composer. If Mrs. Honeybee had been young, the hospital would have set her broken ankle, put it in a cast or a bandage, and sent her home in no time at all. As it was, the doctors decided to keep her in for a while because of the shock she had suffered, and because she did not quite seem to be in her right mind. She kept worrying, the nurses said, about a singing mouse to whom she was teaching songs. So Wolf and Mary were alone in the house, apart from the cat, which they now never saw, and those brothers and sisters of Wolf, who had not moved out, but who never came back to the living room anyway. Mary did not particularly miss the lady, but she did miss the chocolates. She had become hooked on them and was now suffering severe withdrawal symptoms. These made her short-tempered, and a good deal of the time she addressed her son as Wolfgang Amadeus. Wolf missed his friend badly. What's more, he had no idea when she would return. How he longed to see her sitting at the piano, smiling at him. For he now knew that when she showed her teeth at him, it did not, as would have been the case with most animals, mean that she was angry with him, but rather the reverse. He missed his singing lessons very much, and though he practiced his scales every day as she had taught him and sang all the songs he'd learned, it wasn't the same without the accompanist. Nor, of course, was he hearing any new melodies. One evening, when Mrs. Honeybee had been in the hospital for 4 or 5 days, Wolf was sitting and thinking on the piano stool. It made him feel closer to his friend, when suddenly an idea occurred to him. She's not here to teach me new tunes, but why don't I make up my own music? Has any mouse ever composed music before? I wonder. No, but then, has any mouse ever sung the way I can? Why shouldn't I be a composer as well as a singer? Think how surprised she'd be when I sing my own music to her, my very own. And I don't mean dumpity stuff, but really difficult music, like she sometimes plays, where I can really use my voice to the best advantage. What's more, if I sing this piece of music, whatever it turns out to be, often enough to her, she can learn to play it, and then she can accompany me. What a pity it is that animals and humans can't communicate directly by speech. She could say, I'm whoever it is. I really ought to give her a name. And I'd say, I am the composer Wolfgang Amadeus Mouse. Composition, Wolf found, was not at all easy. He spent many hours sitting on the piano top, warbling away without producing anything that satisfied him. He didn't bother with words. The melodies were what interested him. Then, one day, he hit upon a theme that he immediately knew would be the backbone of his piece. He was sitting, not on the piano, but upstairs on the sill of the now closed window in the lady's bedroom. He looked out, and there, high up in the sky, were swallows, hawking for insects in the warm evening air. A swooping, twisting, darting melody came into his head, ready-made. As he sang the first few bars of it, Wolf felt suddenly inspired, and the music poured out of his mouth as his voice swooped and twisted and darted like the birds. Somehow, he seemed to know instinctively where this musical work of his would start, and the way it would continue, and how it would end. And when it did not end, he sang it again and again until he had every note firmly fixed in his head. Then he ran downstairs to find his mother. "Mommy," he cried, "what do you think? I am a composer." "Composer?" said Mary crustily, for she was missing those chocolate candies. "What on earth does that mean, Wolfgang Amadeus?" "I have made up some music of my very own," said Wolf. "Shall I sing it for you?" "If you must," said Mary. Truth to tell, she had a very poor musical ear, and though she was proud of her son's talents, she derived little pleasure from most of the songs he sang. But now, as she listened, she found herself at first interested, and then moved, and finally captivated by the beauty of the music that he was singing, by its lightness, its airiness, its sheer joyfulness. "Oh, Wolf, dear," she said when he had finished, "that was really lovely. Does it have a name?" "Yes," said Wolf, "that is my Swallow Sonata." And that's the end of chapter 10. Unfortunately, there's no picture to share in that chapter. So hopefully you pictured Wolf sitting at the piano, thinking, singing. Maybe you pictured his mom's reaction to his song. Tomorrow we will actually be finishing up the book. This book has 11 chapters, and we'll be at chapter 11 tomorrow. See you then.